So me just watching him, I kind of see his pattern a little bit, and his striking, the way he comes in and strikes. Um, I think John sees it too. I think with that, just because again, he studies, man. He does his homework. You know, he's a master at this. Um, he analyzes things. He studies you over and over again. Um, I think just for that reason, he's gonna know what to do. So I don't think he beats John. No.
Cain Velasquez has just shared his insights on Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, stating that Tom has no chance against Jon Jones. On the other hand, Tom Aspinall said he would never react negatively toward Cain because Cain is one of his favorite fighters ever. He thinks it is really cool that Cain knows who he is and has watched his fights. Aspinall said Cain is an MMA expert, so if he has an opinion, that is okay with him. He explained that he does not worry too much about what people think. This is top-level MMA in the heavyweight division, so it is normal for people to have different opinions, and he respects that.
I would never react negatively towards Cain. He's one of my favourite fighters ever. I mean, the fact that he knows that I exist and he's watched my fights is pretty cool to me. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's an MMA expert himself. If he thinks that, that's fine. And you know what? I'm not really hung up on what people think. You know, this is MMA. This is the highest level of MMA in the heavyweight division. Obviously, the opinions are going to be split, and that's absolutely fine. Like, I respect his opinion.
However, Cain Velasquez said that after watching Tom Aspinall, he noticed a pattern in the way he strikes and comes forward. He believes Jon Jones sees it too. Cain explained that Jon is someone who studies a lot, does his homework, and is a master of the sport. He said Jon analyzes his opponents over and over again, so because of that, he thinks Jon will know what to do. Cain doesn't believe Aspinall would beat Jon Jones.
So me just watching him, I kind of see his pattern a little bit, and his striking, the way he comes in and strikes. I think John sees it too.
Okay.
So I think with that, just because again, he studies, man. He does his homework. You know, he's a master at this. He analyzes things. He studies you over and over again. I think just for that reason, he's gonna know what to do. So I don't think he beats John. No.
Cain Velasquez further said that every fighter has a pattern, but some are better at hiding it than others. He explained that Tom Aspinall has a striking pattern that is a bit easier to spot when he comes forward. Cain said it is important to disguise patterns by using fakes, but when Tom attacks, he goes all in. He glides or lunges in with full effort. Cain admitted that this style has worked well for Tom, and he has achieved a lot with it, so he is not taking anything away from him. However, Cain believes that because Jon Jones is the kind of fighter who studies his opponents carefully, he would be able to read that pattern and beat Tom because of it.
Everybody has a pattern, right?
Okay.
Everybody has a fight pattern.
Yeah.
And then some people disguise it better than others. The simple fact is the way Tom, the way that he comes in and fights, he doesn't have a pattern that's somewhat easier to find when he comes in and strikes. And I think you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of things come with that. It's disguising your pattern. It's, you know, throwing fakes here and there before. But when he comes to attacks, he comes in and attacks. It's 100% full go. You know, he comes in, glides in, lunges in, and does his attack. Again, not that it's not effective. It is. You know, he's done great things with it. I mean, look where he's at now. Not taking anything away from him. No, he is. But I think with the type of guy that Jon Jones is, I think he studies him and he beats him because of that.
Tom Aspinall replied by saying that everyone has a pattern, but pointed out that his average fight time in the UFC is only 2 minutes and 2 seconds, which is the shortest in history. He said if someone can pick up patterns from such short fights, that is impressive. However, he believes anyone who thinks they fully understand his game based on just a couple of minutes is in for a surprise. He explained that he has only shown about 10% of what he can actually do, and there is a lot more that people have not seen yet.
Everyone's got a pattern. Everyone's got a pattern, but I think that Talking about a guy whose average fight time is 2 minutes and 2 seconds in the UFC, the shortest average fight time ever. If you can pick up patterns from that, you're pretty good, man. You're pretty good. And I think that for him to be able to see that, that's impressive. But the people that think they've seen my game with an average fight time of 2 minutes and 2 seconds, they're going to have a surprise coming their way, man, because I've shown probably 10% of what I can actually do. And for people to go out there and think that they know what they're watching when they've seen me fight for 2 minutes, there's a lot more there to show.
However, Cain Velasquez lastly said that Tom Aspinall has been doing great and is clearly an amazing fighter, being the champion of the world and beating tough opponents to get there. He agreed with the observations about Tom's body type, movement, speed, striking, and strength, saying it is all very impressive. Cain added that, for him, it always comes down to the matchups, which are what make everything interesting. He finished by saying that he thinks what Tom is doing is great.
What he's been doing, great, obviously, you know, champion of the world, amazing, you know, he's beaten some tough guys to get there. I see what you're saying as far as like the body type, the movement, the speed, you know, the striking, the strength that he has. So it's great, man. Just great stuff. And you know, for me, it's obviously it's the matchups. You know, like the matchups was what makes everything interesting. So I think it's great what he's doing.
Moreover, Gable Steveson said he sees Tom Aspinall as a strong interim champion who has earned the spotlight he's getting. He mentioned the ongoing discussions about a potential matchup between Tom and Jon Jones, but in his opinion, Jon is still the real undisputed champion. Gable said he'll keep believing that until someone steps in and proves him wrong. If Tom isn't the one to do it, then it will be up to another fighter. For now, he firmly views Jon Jones as the top champion in the division.
Well, you're a big guy. What do you think about Tom Aspinall?
What do I think about Tom Aspinall? Man, I think Tom's a great interim champion. He's a really great interim champion, and there's a lot of buzz about him right now, about him in the Jon Jones situation. But I feel that Jon has been undisputed this whole time, and I'll stand by that forever until someone else tries to do something about it. And if it's not Tom, then someone else can try too. So Jon is definitely undisputed right now by far.
Gable Steveson also showed respect for Tom Aspinall, praising his drive to secure a fight with Jon Jones. Still, he said it is not fair to make judgments until Jones is back in the octagon. He pointed out that Jon has stayed at the top for almost 20 years, which is something no one else has done. Steveson shared his frustration that many younger fans seem to forget Jon's legacy, including wins over legends like Shogun Rua, Lyoto Machida, Rashad Evans, Rampage Jackson, and Daniel Cormier. He admitted that there has been controversy around Jones, but reminded people that Cormier's only losses were to Jon, which shows how dominant and unmatched Jones has been in the sport.
I like Tom in the sense of Tom's a go-getter and he's trying to fight for what's right and trying to get the Jon Jones fight, and I applaud that. But until further notice, until Jon steps in the cage, I feel like we really can't say nothing.
I mean, it's been what, 20 years? 20 years he's been on top. No one's done that.
No one. So, and we're in a new generation of social media that kids haven't recognized Jon's past of being that great. So it bothers me because growing up, I'm watching UFC and I'm watching Jon take care of business when I'm 9 and 10 years old, 11 years old, and now we got a new generation of teenagers that are just like, oh, but we're gonna forget about Jon beating Shogun. We're gonna forget about Jon beating Machida. We're gonna forget about Jon beating Evans and Rampage and everybody else and
Cormier, son, and Cormier twice. Oh, he pissed dirty, they say.
Cormier's only losses are to the best guys in their weight class, like forever best guys, and so you can't discredit it. You can't. So And do I like Tom? I think Tom's cool, but
Georges St-Pierre talked about John Jones's legacy, suggesting that he could be the greatest fighter ever. He shared that if he had to choose one fighter in their prime to represent MMA in a hand-to-hand fight, it would be John Jones. St-Pierre admitted it's tough to dispute Jones's greatness, but also reminded that time eventually affects everyone.
You talk about legacy, like John Jones, you know, it's probably the best fighter that ever lives. You know, talk about, if I have to choose someone in his prime that I put in the Coliseum hand to hand, I think it would be John Jones. You know, it's hard to deny that.
St-Pierre also gave credit to Tom Aspinall for his strong performances and said it would be exciting to see how their fighting styles clash. He believes Aspinall is driven and eager to prove himself, while it's up to John Jones to decide if he still wants to compete. St-Pierre added that the UFC should offer John a good payout for such a major fight and expressed his hope that it happens.
However, nobody beats time, and Tom Aspinall is on a hell of a run now. So it's to see how they get a match. You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. As a fan, I want to see this fight. I would like to see this fight, but I think Tom is very hungry, and it's up to John to see if he still wants to do this and if the UFC can compensate him good, because I think he deserves it. So it's going to be a hell of a fight.
Stipe Miocic advised that Tom Aspinall should not allow John Jones to control the fight. He clarified that this advice applies not just to John, but to any opponent. Miocic emphasized that if you let your opponent dictate the pace and direction of the fight, it's almost impossible to win. He warned that this is the biggest mistake a fighter can make.
Well, 100%. I think also too is that you just don't let him dictate what he wants. There's any fighter, not just John Jones, it's any fight. Don't let them dictate what they want to do, because if you let them do what they want, that's the end of the road for you. You're fucked.
Stipe Miocic praised John Jones as one of the greatest fighters ever, pointing out his intelligence and unpredictable fighting style. He warned Tom Aspinall to avoid making the same mistakes he made against Jones, such as taking damaging shots like a liver shot. Miocic spoke highly of Aspinall's toughness, power, movement, and ability to stay calm under pressure. He believes that if Aspinall remains composed and focused, he has a solid chance of performing well against Jones.
With Jones, you know, he's as good as one of the best of all time. If not the best of all time. He's just smart, real tricky, but with Francis, you know, always comes with a game plan, but also he's got thunder in his fist. So that's a tough fight. You know, I think John would keep his distance. He do well, get him down to the ground. But if Francis connects, you know, all over.
If that matchup does get booked with him and John Jones, what's the best advice you'd give Tom Aspinall?
Don't do what I did.
Avoid the liver shot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, what are you gonna do? But I think Tommy, that guy, he's super tough, and he hits hard. He moves well. He's a big man. I think that he stays calm under the situation, and whatever happens, he just stays calm. I think he'll be fine. You know, he picks his shots. He's smart what he does, and I think he'll do fine.
Coach Eric Nixick acknowledged that Tom Aspinall's hand speed could give him an advantage over John Jones, but he pointed out that Jones is exceptional at controlling his opponent's hands. He referenced Jones's fight with Stipe Miocic, where Jones switched to southpaw and neutralized Miocic's jab, leaving him with only his cross, which Jones was able to time perfectly. Nixick shared that he and Aspinall had discussed avoiding the B range and making sure Jones doesn't take control of the fight. He emphasized that Aspinall would need to be aggressive during those moments to prevent Jones from setting the pace or rhythm of the fight.
What advantages do you see that he has over John Bones Jones?
I think hand speed. But what John does very well, and what we saw in the Stipe fight, is John will occupy your hands. So Stipe's one of his best weapons was always his jab. So you saw John switch to southpaw, lead hand occupy, which left Stipe with one punch, which was cross. So he was timing the cross to pull off and then was adding on. So I think when you break that fight down, I actually talked to Tom on Monday. We were kind of going back and forth a little bit on some of the game planning things. You can't be in that B range and just kind of get snake charmed by John. Let him grab your hands, let him dictate the pace, let him dictate the rhythm. You have to be hyper aggressive in those positions, and I think that's what Tom would have to do in that fight.
Eddie Hall confidently stated that Tom Aspinall would defeat John Jones in a fight. While he recognized Jones's legendary status, Hall felt that Aspinall's talent, speed, and untapped potential would give him the advantage.
John Jones or Tom Aspinall. So if you don't know MMA world, sorry to bore you, but Tom Aspinall is the UFC's #1 right now. John Jones is he's seen as the best MMA fighter on the planet. Dana White's got a massive for him, says he's unbeatable. Honestly, I think if you put John Jones and Tom Aspinall in a room, and said one man leaves, I think Tom Aspinall leaves that room. I genuinely do. I think, and I think John Jones, I mean, I can't badmouth the guy. He's got an amazing record, but he's definitely ducking Tom Aspinall, 100%. And I think he's even said he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall after his next fight. He's pretty much going to retire after this fight, so he's ducking Tom Aspinall.
Hall also took a shot at Jones, suggesting that his reluctance to take the fight could be seen as a sign of fear. He emphasized that what a fighter does in the cage matters more than their words, and reaffirmed his belief that Aspinall would win if they ever faced off.
I mean, he can say what he wants, but actions speak louder than words, so there we go. Anyway, the answer to that question is Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is kicking John Jones.
On the other hand, Rampage Jackson shared his admiration for John Jones, stating that he doesn't believe anyone can beat him. Reflecting on their own past fight, Rampage acknowledged that he was in great shape but still fell short. While he respects Tom Aspinall's skills and potential, Rampage doesn't think Aspinall poses a true challenge to Jones. He mentioned hearing that Jones plans to dedicate about 6 months to prepare for Aspinall, likely using that time to study his opponent's tactics in detail. Rampage also praised Jones for his exceptional fight intelligence, even going so far as to call him the Neo of MMA due to his unique ability to perceive and control fights in ways others can't.
You fought John Jones back in the day. People are
why you only bringing up my losses?
People are all talking about John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. How do you see that fight going? You got Tom or you got John?
Man, I don't think there's nobody on this planet that could beat John Jones because I was in there with him. I was at my best, and I've never lost a fight at my best until John Jones. And, you know, no disrespect to Tom Aspinall, but he a good fighter, you know what I'm saying? I think he's probably second best out there, but I don't see him.
You think John Jones finishes him?
I think John Jones is just a real smart fighter. I heard something like he want to take 6 months before he fight Aspinall. I think it's because he want to study him. He want to break him down, you know. Right. John Jones ain't no fool. He's probably one of the smartest fighters out there. I say he like Neo. He's Neo of MMA.
Joe Rogan praised John Jones's exceptional fight IQ, emphasizing that despite his past partying and physical setbacks, Jones remained one of the most dominant fighters due to his natural talent and strategic mindset. Rogan pointed out that when Jones was focused and properly trained, he became nearly unbeatable, as seen in his rematch with Alexander Gustafsson, where he dominated after committing to serious preparation.
Well, John's fight IQ is insane. Insane.
Yeah. He's a smart guy.
And did a lot of his career partying, which is even crazier. Like, diminished his body, like one of the things he said to Daniel Cormier, which is one of the coldest things anybody's ever said. He said, I beat you when I was on coke. That's such a cold-blooded thing to say. It's so cold-blooded.
Crazy.
It's so cold-blooded.
Crazy. He's so crazy.
He was so good. But he was so good, he was better than everybody in his division, so he didn't work hard. But then when he has to work hard, he's fucking terrifying. Like when he fought Alexander Gustafsson, barely trained. They said he barely trained, barely was in the gym. They were really worried about him. Greg Jackson said they were even considering not letting him fight. Like, you shouldn't be fighting. You're not training.
Yeah.
And then he guts it out in the final rounds, wins the decision, very close fight. Then they have a rematch. And in the rematch,
I remember.
he trained.
Yeah.
And then he just destroyed him in the rematch.
The first fight was very competitive.
Very
the second one, he dominated.
Not competitive at all.
Rogan firmly believes that when fully dedicated, Jones is a formidable force, solidifying his place as one of the greatest fighters ever. He also warned Tom Aspinall about the difficulties of facing Jones. Despite Aspinall's impressive skills like speed, size, grappling, and knockout power, Rogan noted that Aspinall has yet to experience real adversity in a fight, often finishing opponents early, and cautioned that Jones's experience, resilience, and ability to handle pressure could make the fight much harder for Aspinall than he anticipates.
Yeah, when John is focused and John is in shape and training, he's the greatest of all time. I think he fights Aspinall because I think it's going to be a lot of money. It's glory, and look, Aspinall's amazing. He's unbelievable. He's fast as for a heavyweight. He's big. He can grapple, black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's got knockout power, but he's never been in deep water, ever. I don't even know if he's gone to a second round.
I don't want to.
Joe Rogan also suggested that John Jones could potentially overwhelm Tom Aspinall by taking him to the ground and controlling him, given Jones's superior wrestling skills. He pointed out, however, that no one has really tested Aspinall's stamina in the later rounds, creating uncertainty about how he would perform in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th rounds of a fight.
Who knows
Yeah,
if
who
John
knows?
beats him? John might beat him up.
Yeah, he could.
John might take him down and ragdoll him on the ground, like, you know.
John easily could, because we don't know how good John is either.
And we also don't know what happens to Tom Aspinall in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds.
He's
we
never
have
been-
zero
because
idea.
no one's gotten it.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.